a state of confusion, which is very easy to do. And there had been, so Doran, instead of doing his job and having a trial on June the 7th, 2006, it was small claims, he should have had a trial immediately. He let Sauaek confuse him, and he slipped into extended motion practice, which is in violation of the Small Claims Act, Uniform City Court Act, Section 1801, New York State statute. And he let himself be dragged into motion practice, where Sauaek would make a motion to dismiss, Glendora would oppose it, Sauaek would answer, and Glendora would have a surreply. Well, this took a year. Small claims matters are supposed to be resolved in 2 weeks. That's the intent of the law. And so Sauaek, of course, doesn't pay any attention to the laws except to break them. And then Arthur Doran III got deceived into doing this. And there's another word for it. And then crazy Yonkers City Court. Oh, Doran, after all this motion practice and papers going back and forth, ruled in Glendora's favor. I kept telling Doran, you cannot decide a small claims case on papers, on motion practice. You cannot have a summary judgment. And finally Doran came around to see that. So Doran scheduled a trial for October the 25th, I believe, in 2006. That'd be 1 year and 1 month ago. And we're still litigating this case. Still litigating it. But this crazy Yonkers court doesn't know the first thing about continuity, and I have a presumptive right to continuity. Once I have a judge on my case, that judge should stay on my case. And so Doran III goes off into vehicle and traffic court, or whatever, or into criminal court, or into small landlord-tenant court. And on comes this newcomer, Charles D. Wood. He comes to the bench, folks. He hasn't done his homework. He knows nothing about the case. He has a file in front of him 2 inches, totally unread. He reads Doran's order, all in my favor, dismissing the motion, denying the motion to dismiss, having a trial, and all the other things that I moved for, he granted, except sanctions. So this is what we've got in front of us. A man who hasn't done his homework, a man who has come to the bench totally unprepared, and then he has the audacity to refuse to read the file. And then he has the audacity to ask for evidence, when the evidence is right there, in front of him. Well, I can't say enough bad about Charles D. Wood. No good Wood. So here are the minutes. Glendora versus Christine Savarino, Ty Bot-Sulaco, Jill DeCrenza, and Officer Lewis of the Peekskill Police Department. And these are the minutes of a so-called trial. October 25th, 2006. And I'm going to cross out honorable. The transcriber said Honorable Charles D. Wood. Well, there's nothing honorable about Charles D. Wood. Nothing. This is the log and the settling of the minutes, so-called, where you read the minutes and you say, yeah, they're right or they're not right. And then you send it to the other side, but in this case there is no other side, because Walter Sauaek could never produce proof that he was representing Savarino, nor could he produce proof that he was representing Taibat Salako. And these minutes are 125 pages. 5 after 9, and I'm reading this to you on November 7th, the day after election. Court officer calling the case number 2, Glendora, doing business as a chat with Glendora. Where'd you get that, Yonkers City Court? This is not a business. I'm not doing business in it. You do the dumbest things, you clerks in the Yonkers City Court. I'm not doing a business here. This is all volunteer. There is no pay. This is all a charity to try to clean up these courts, depurate these courts. Court officer calling case number 2, Glendora, DBA, a chat with Glendora versus Christine Savarino, Taibat Salako, Jill DeCrenzer, and he left out Officer Lewis. And Savarino is not spelled like Christ. Christine is spelled with a K. And Sauaek says, "Good afternoon, Your Honor." Sauaek never knew. Oh, he knows, but he deliberately violates that the plaintiff speaks first. The defendant speaks afterwards. The plaintiff opens first and closes last. But this means nothing to crooks like Sauaek and Wood. The court, good afternoon. Court officer, appearance counselor. He may or may not be a counselor. I have no proof of that. And he has no Carmody weight proof of the same, and it was requested 10 times, and he ignored it 10 times because he couldn't come up with it, and so the whole thing is on no basis. It has no foundation. Sauaek. See, right away he starts off, "My name is Walter Sauaek of Sadley, Stevens, Burke and Burt, appearing on behalf of Taibat Salako and Christine Savarino." So Sauaek went out into the halls of the Yonkers City Court and solicited business from Taibat Salako. "I'll represent you for so much." And when we tried to monitor what he was doing, he kept hiding and hiding and hiding. He kept taking Taibat and hiding and hiding and hiding. The court, okay. So defendants 1 and 2. And ma'am, you are Taibat Salako. The court, is Savarino here? Sauaek. She's not here. I'm appearing on her behalf. They should never let that happen. The lead defendant should be there, and the lead defendant should be made to testify. How can you call this a trial? How can you call this a court proceeding? Court. Okay. And do we know about DeCrenzer? Sauaek, I do not. Glendora, she's in default, and so is Officer Lewis. And Wood let them get by with it. He let them get by with it. Wood eventually, in his so-called order, his so-called 4 papers, lied. He lied that they had not been served. And they had been served. And they had been served by his own court, by his own clerks. He lied. They had been served just the way Salako and Savarino had been served. Wood lied, and this isn't the first lie you're going to hear. I think he told, in the end, about 50, 60, or 70 lies. A judge, Charles D. Wood, Yonkers City Court. Glendora, she's in default, and so is Officer Lewis, the court. Okay, all right, and you are? I'm Glendora, the plaintiff. The court, okay. Glendora should have had an instant default judgment against the Krenza and Wood. That's okay. Defy the courts, folks. You get a summons from a court, you don't have to appear. There's a crooked judge there who will let you get away with it. You don't have to do anything. Just defy America, defy justice, defy the courts. And who is he? On the bench, Charles D. Wood, a total failure. Glendora, how are you today? Court, fine, thank you. And the gentleman with you? Glendora, this is my seeing eye dog, Mr. Higgs, Higgs. The court, okay, your first name, Mr. Higgs? Mr. Higgs, David. The court, David Higgs. Mr. Higgs, yes. The court. And the courts are way, way, way behind the times electronically. There wasn't any court stenographer, I'm happy to say that, because they are thieves. They charge $3 and $4 for a page that's half empty. Well, take a look. Here's a page. Look at it. It's half empty. And they make you pay $3, $4 for that. It's a big racket, and the courts are in on it, and they must get a kickback. Or on information and belief. I allege that they get a kickback. They should send down to the appellate term, instead of this written word, they should send down the actual audio tape that they made. They should send that to the appellate term. An audio tape is far better ascertaining the truth than words. An audio tape has inflection, it has expression, it has personality, it has facts more, and it has truth more. But the courts are billions of years behind electronically, and in every other way. The court, okay, everyone who is going to be testifying. Now listen to this. Do you swear that the testimony you give to be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? This is a mass taking of an oath. It's like a Mormon wedding when 40 wives say I do. M.S. Sauaek, oh yes, Glendora says so help me God, and Sauaek says nothing because he never tells the truth. Okay, this is totally nullifies the whole trial. No oath was properly taken. Glendora, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Taibat Salako, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? How shabby can you get, Wood? The court. Very good. Everyone have a seat. I see we have a rather thick file here. So everyone bear with me a moment so I can catch up on what's going on here. A litigant, you have a presumptive right that the judge be fully familiar with the facts and circumstances. That is the law. Here's a man sitting in a black robe at a bench and he knows nothing about the case. Nothing. He hasn't done his homework. And we have to sit there, and while he catches up, but he never did catch up, and you'll see how ignorant he is all the way through as to the facts and circumstances. All right, there's a motion to dismiss on June the 29th, and it looks like an answer on July the 13th, and on July the 27th the reply was on submission, which is against the law. You can't run small claims on submission. There has to be a trial, which I told you, upon which I told you that Duran eventually saw the light and corrected himself and did demand a trial. On August the 16th, server reply submitted by, let me just glance here, I'm just looking at the decision and order the judge for Judge Arthur Duran III, dated on October the 12th, 06, and he scheduled a trial within a week. That's all I had time to prepare for the trial. A decision and order, a motion to dismiss was denied. Good going. At least we got that straight. Okay, all right. I've read the Judge Third's decision. Oh, he's read it, but has he intercepted it? No. Okay, I'm going to forego looking at motions back and forth inasmuch as they're already been decided, and I'm just going to go straight to, how would you like to be addressed? Just Glendora or Miss Glendora? Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Maybe 100 hours of work, maybe $200 for print and post. It's just tossed out the window. And all through this 3-hour trial, he's going to show his ignorance and his lack of preparation and his fudging. I repeat, a litigant has the presumptive right that a judge be fully familiar with the facts and circumstances. Do I make my point? So I think we have 3 statements here why this whole trial is a nullity. The judge isn't prepared, the oath is not taken properly, the lead defendant isn't there, and 2 defendants are in default. DeCrenza and Officer Lewis of the Peekskill Police Department. Glendora answers, yes, I'm Glendora. The court, okay, any last name or anything? Glendora, no, thank you, sir. The court, okay, so I'll just refer to you as Glendora. No Ms. or Mrs. or no, thank you. The court, okay, all right. Explain to me why you're owed $5,000 from the various plaintiffs in this matter. Glendora, well, first of all, Mr. Judge Charles G. Wood, could I ask you why is not the lead defendant here? That would be Christine Savarino, who's already shown her guilt. If she hadn't done anything wrong, she should be glad to come to court and say so. But she's done everything wrong, and so she's guilty, and so she's running away, and so she's a fugitive, and so she's a coward, and so she's an un-American. The court, that's not up to me to answer. 3, 4 more dodges. That's up to the defendants, whether they'd like to show up or not. I can't force them to be here. And you call this a trial? They will proceed at their own peril. Well, it didn't make any difference. She got away with it. As far as Crooked Wood goes. But as far as the universe and America and the public is concerned, she did not get away with anything. We know what she is. If they're not here, I can't force them to be here. They will proceed at their own peril. I'm repeating this, if they're not here. So why don't you just concern yourself with making your case? Big dodge, Wood. And we'll proceed from there. Glendora. Well, Christine Savarino requires that Glendora have a local person as a signer for a chat with Glendora on the Cablevision various systems, and at great expense and labor and urges of energy. I comply. And there is really no statutory authority that they can require this. But I comply. And I got a signer, and the next thing I know, Christine has called the signer and has said something that has made the signer back down. This happened with Nan Vario in Yonkers. It happened with Tony Muley in Yonkers. It happened with Patricia Langelotti in Harrison, Port Chester. It happened with Deborah Eacock in Peekskill. It happened with the town councilman in Ossining. It has happened with Carol and her friend in New Rochelle. That was Bridget, and her friend was Bridget O'Connor, and her friend was Ogden. I think it was Richard Ogden in New Rochelle. I got these signers, spent a lot of money getting them, going to the municipalities, a lot of time and a lot of labor. And then Christine calls them up and chases them away. And it's happened with a few others. One moment, please. With Tom Rogers, who was a vice president of NBC in Harrison, and his wife. Christine upset that one. The court. Okay, let me just interrupt for a moment. Miss Savarino somehow works for a cable company or something. Why don't you read the record before you come to the bench, Mr. Wood? Glendora, she is, works for Cablevision in public access. The court. Okay. And we are on page 6. Glendora. Now, the court. Do you know her title there? Glendora, a public access administrator. The court. Okay. Glendora. That was one of the things I wanted to ask her. And then, you see, Judge Wood, I have to go out and expend more money, more time, and more urges of labor to find a new signer, and this costs money and time and labor. So she has damaged me much more than $5,000, but $5,000 is the jurisdictional limit for small claims in the state of New York for a city court. The court. That is correct for small claims. Glendora, and I feel that I must have that $5,000. The court. Okay. Glendora. Further, Mrs. Savarino, or Miss Savarino, keeps my videotapes. She does not send them back to me. I sent my friend in Wappingers. Wappingers is a very, very large system. It's about 20 municipalities. Excuse me, it includes the town of Poughkeepsie, and I sent my friend to the Wappingers Cablevision office to get my tapes, and my friend was told your tapes have been sent to Harrison. Why? I'm talking about 40 tapes, videotapes, and all my other systems that I'm on. I'm on several. I'm on 53 different TV stations, and I'm with the biggest cable companies. Cablevision is really rinky-dink compared to the Time Warner, Comcast, Charter, Cox. Cablevision is really very small, and none of these other cable companies, Judge Wood, requires, first of all, a signer, requires next a 6-month renewal. That's against the law, because the law is first come, first served. And I have that time slot the rest of my life. The law says first come, first served, period. It does not say first come, first served every 6 months. And these other cable companies, Comcast, you don't even have to ask them to return your tapes. They return the tapes to me, the UPS ground, and they pay for it. Christine Savarino has even demanded a box. Sent her an empty box to return the tapes. I will pay for the tapes to be returned. And the postage for media mail for 40 tapes, Judge Woods, is about $9.10. And I will send it. And in fact, I have sent her money, and I still do not have my Wappinger's tapes after begging for them for 2 years. Excuse me, for 2 months. One moment, please. Public access is, this is page 8 out of 125. Is Title 47 of the United States Code and is Section 521 ex sequitur. Congress actually called us an electronic soapbox. If I were to come to Yonkers, the court, Charles D. Wood, an electronic what? Glendora, an electronic soapbox. Court, oh, okay. Glendora, Congress called us that, showing that we are a public forum, and so if I were to come to Yonkers, your city, and stand up in the park, nobody would make me sign a contract. It's free speech. It's sidewalk free speech, which deserves and gets the utmost protection. Mr. Sauaek wants to censor me from the Yonkers court, yet in addition to censoring TV. Wait. Wood says, who? Glendora, this is Mr. Sauaek. oh, okay. Glendora from Sally, Stevens, Burke, and Burke. Sally, Stevens, the Jerk and Jerk. Have you seen a chat with Glendora on TV? Glendora asked the judge. Judge Wood. No, I have not. Glendora. And did you have a chance to read the 170-page paper, 110 paper, and pages that I've submitted? Page 9. Judge, I have not at this time read those. We have a presumptive right that a judge be fully familiar with the facts and circumstances. Third reason that this whole trial is a nullity. I'll be happy to read through the file prior to rendering a decision. At this time, just make your case. Dodge. Glendora, okay. My case is that it would. You have so far, you mentioned defendant Savarino. You have yet to explain to the court how any of the other defendants factor into this. All right. Let us deal with Taibat Salako. Taibat Salako was my signer for 6 months, and then she was improperly influenced by Christine Savarino, or Christine Savarino's underling, Cecilia Masterilli, against whom I won a $5,000 judgment in White Plains City Court. And I sued Taibat Salako as an accomplice, as a partner in guilt. Charles D. Wood. Okay, I want to rewind